What's up, guys? So, Conor McGregor just announced that he has decided to retire really quickly on Twitter. And according to his tweet, he says, "Hey guys, quick announcement. I've decided to retire from the sport formerly known as mixed martial art today. I wish all my old colleagues well going forward in competition. I now join my former partners on this venture already in retirement. Proper pina coladas on me, fellas." So, just a quick retirement. But here's the thing, we have seen this before. He said this before UFC 200, where they pulled him off the card because of media obligations that he missed, or something like that, right? And just like before, this can obviously be a negotiation tactic or a ploy of Conor to get what he wants here, but what would he want? That's the thing that boggles my mind. He could pretty much have any opponent he wants. He gets paid more than everybody in the UFC. People are saying that maybe he wants to get paid more. It could be true that he's using this to get more money, and the fact that maybe they're not giving him the money that he wants, he's just retiring because he probably makes more selling whiskey than he is fighting, right? But I have a feeling this is a little bit different because back then, he came off the loss to Nate Diaz, and he really wanted that rematch. He was demanding the rematch at the same weight class, and he was super focused on getting that fight back. And he was just fed up with the UFC taking him off the UFC 200 card and throwing a wrench into his plans of fighting Nate Diaz. But for this one, Conor has shown a lot of disinterest or lack of motivation for a bit, right? I think after the Floyd Mayweather fight, even probably during the whole Floyd Mayweather World Tour thing, probably showed some signs of lack of motivation. In the Khabib fight afterward, you can see everything he's doing. It doesn't seem like he's training too much. He's focusing a lot on his whiskey thing and going around in parties and just having these events and stuff instead of being that same fighter he was after the first Nate Diaz fight where he was back in the gym and he was just obsessed with getting that fight back with Nate Diaz. Him losing Khabib, I don't think it's there anymore. I mean, losing a fight like that, it has to get your blood boiling. It has to get you motivated, focused to get that back. Because imagine leaving knowing that was your last fight. That is what happened to you. And not only that's what happened to you in a fight, the opponent is someone that Conor McGregor greatly despises personally, right? And the fact that he doesn't have the drive to run that one back and decided to retire instead, it shows that his dedication has just run dry. Which tells me that this retirement is more convincing, but MMA is crazy. Uriah Faber retired at the perfect time, and he wants to come back now. So, will Conor be gone forever? I don't think so. I think we'll see him back again, but this is a lot more convincing, a lot more believable than before. And Dana White also mentioned this. He also commented on this to Brock Akamoto, quote, "He has the money to retire, and his whiskey is killing it. It totally makes sense. If I was him, I would retire too. He's retiring from fighting, but not from working. The whiskey will keep him busy, and I'm sure he has other things he's working on. He has been so fun to watch. He has accomplished incredible things in the sport. I am so happy for him, and I look forward to seeing him be as successful outside of the octagon as he was in it." Now, Dana White's almost always been supportive when fighters decide to retire, right? And his comments also show that there probably isn't anything behind the scenes going on here between them two. This probably isn't a publicity stunt. I think it's very convincing that Conor McGregor is probably going to take a long hiatus or something like that, or even a permanent retirement because of all the revenue and all the other things he's doing right now. A lot of distractions from fighting. That same fighter we saw 145 and the same fighter we saw fight Nate Diaz, the same fighter we saw fight Eddie Alvarez, that guy's not here anymore. You could just see it. His mentality, the way he fights, his commitment in his fights with Khabib, just not that same guy that he used to be. And if that is 100% true, it is probably the best time for him to exit the sport. He's said for a long time, get money, get in and get out. And that is exactly what he has done. He has made the most money in the sport. He's fought Floyd Mayweather, made close to $100 million, I believe. He got in. He made the money, and now he's getting out. Just how he envisioned it before. Conor McGregor is very good at visioning things, and this is another one he envisioned before he got into the UFC. He envisioned holding 2 UFC titles in 2 different weight classes simultaneously. He actually envisioned beating Eddie Alvarez a few years before it happened. He envisioned knocking out Jose Aldo with the first exchange. He envisioned being the biggest star in the sport, and he envisioned making a ton of money in the sport and getting out. And all of those things have happened. Now, not everything he has envisioned has happened, but he is very good at predicting things. And when he has these goals to focus on, he could be an obsessive madman until that goal is met. And almost every single time he set a goal in this sport, he has achieved it. So good on Conor McGregor, man. He has beaten the sport. Conor McGregor has always been an inspiration. He has shown a different successful style of fighting in mixed martial arts. He brought the promos and the trash talking to another level. He brought a lot of eyes on the sport, a lot of casual fans to the sport, and transcended pop culture, right? Nobody's as big as Conor McGregor ever was. He was the first champ, the first guy to hold 2 belts simultaneously in the UFC. Out of the top 5 biggest UFC pay-per-views of all time, Conor McGregor holds 4 of those records. Him and Khabib have the most with 2.4 million pay-per-view buys. Him versus Nate Diaz 2 with 1.65 million. The first fight was 1.5 million. And you also have him versus Eddie Alvarez, which is 1.3 million. So Conor McGregor is undeniable that he can draw. He's the biggest draw to ever come into this sport. One of the biggest draws in combat sports history. One of the biggest draws in sports history. And he's done it at such a young age, right? He is only 30 years old today. That is absolutely extraordinary. Now, is he the greatest fighter? Is he one of the greatest fighters? It's kind of hard to put him up there, but he's definitely the fighter that made the most money. Definitely the fighter that made the most noise in the sport. In some sense, you could say he beat the game. He's one of the only fighters to actually have all of his wits about him, not taking too much damage in his career, made a ton of money while doing so, and has some excellent performances like his masterful 13-second knockout of Jose Aldo and his near-perfect performance against Eddie Alvarez, as well as some of the greatest fights of all time in the Nate Diaz fights. Conor McGregor may not be the greatest fighter. He may not have had the greatest style or the most power or being the fastest fighter. But man, was he fun to watch. And man, was he polarizing. No matter if you hated him or you loved him, you always tuned in to watch his fights because he always put on an exciting fight. He almost always went for a finish. He almost always went for a straight knockout. And he is going to be known as probably having the best left hand in the game, period. It's kind of a bummer that we probably won't get to see the Jose Aldo rematch. We won't get to see the Max Holloway rematch. The Nate Diaz trilogy, which is the fight that has been brewing for a long time and should have happened a while ago. And personally, Conor McGregor has been a very big inspiration to me. When he came into the sport, he comes from a background that's very similar to mine, and seeing how successful he was with it inspired me to also pursue the sport. So Conor has really brought a lot of people to the sport, a lot of eyes, a lot of interest, a lot of passion to the sport. Just a single person able to bring all these people together in one place. You have to give Conor credit where it's due. So yeah, leave a comment below what you guys think about Conor McGregor. What do you guys think about the retirement? What do you guys think about his legacy? And I'll see you guys in the next one.